promised, I have here today the last of the Mione phones. This is the Mione Mix Mini. Now, the one for you. So, and this is the nicest looking of the three, definitely, that I have been looking at the last week or two. So let me just put that down here because I just want to read you what it says on the back again. This is the Mix Mini. So it says it's 5.35 inch, 18.9 FHD display, 90% screen to body ratio, a new era of all screen tri-bezel-less LCD, Android Nougat 7, 4GB of RAM, 64GB of ROM, AMP front camera with a 16MP main camera, 4G of LTE, 4G LTE capable non-removable lithium-ion batteries. It's nearly 4,000 mAh. So let's dig into this a wee bit deeper. Is it what it says it is on the tin? What it says on the box? Well, of course it's not. It's not bezel-less. It's not full HD. But you can do that. What else is it? It's not. I'm not sure about the cameras, if they are not interpolated or not. So this was less than 400 reals from 360 Souk, and it's really pretty decent looking phone. Again, I'm going to caveat will be manage your expectations because it's not particularly powerful. But again, for that kind of price, and it's relatively unusual. I mean, of course, look, we know what the design language is. It is like a small version of the Xiaomi Mi Mix, and there's a lot of companies now doing this Liago Mix, VK World Mix. There's a number of Doge Mix. There's a lot of the Chinese companies doing their version of the Mix some of them look quite nice. I'm not exactly sure. This is only one that I've had in my hand at the time of hopefully I'm going to maybe get another one relatively soon of another company. So look, it feels really nice in the hand. It's pretty solid. I mean, it's not particularly thin. If you look at this and then you look at my it's probably about the same as my wee bit thicker maybe than my Sony XZ Premium. So I'm used to this kind of depth, shall we say, and I don't mind it at all. It just feels really nice in the hand. It feels pretty solid, and and feels pretty premium, to be honest with you. Now, are the specs correct? Well, it's difficult to say. This company obviously do not seem to be interested in putting the real specs on their phones, which is a real shame. So I'm doubting. I'm doubting that the cameras are definitely not what they say they are. But I mean, that looks pretty. I mean, I would say that the cameras are probably a lot less than 16, maybe 2 and 5 or 3 and 8, something like that. But I'm not using it for taking photos. I'm only using it here to give you a review. Now, interestingly, it is USB-C, which the other ones were not. They were normal small USB. The speaker there, as you can see, is at the bottom. At the top, got the antenna band and headphone jack. Now, so are the specs correct? He says. Okay, so we did Antutu, and surprise, surprise, the Antutu score was just under 25,000, and that's no different from the other phones. Really is about the same. Now, in detail of Antutu, the resolution is 1280 by 720, so it's an HD screen and it looks good. Look, the screen I think is pretty decent. So it looks good. Now it's saying here on Antutu it has 4 GB of RAM and the system storage is 64 GB. So and Android 7, but again the user experience would make me think that it doesn't have that amount of RAM. So I downloaded a few apps. I'm not sure. I think I may have deleted them. But anyway, the CPU Z and CPU identifier, stuff like that. I downloaded them just to check, and they all came back saying that this phone had 4 GB of RAM. So it has a same MTK 6580 processor, and it says it's clocked at 1.3, and these apps would they agreed with that. Now let me see. When I first got it out the box, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. It's got a kind of, the color here, and it's hard to see, is a kind of very dark blue. It looked a bit smaller than I expected, but I really was quite pleased with the overall kind of feel of the quality. Now I'm just looking for my pin ejector tool. So I transferred some music over and played through my Sony headphones, and yeah, it sounded okay. So let's. I didn't put my SIM in because I only have one SIM at the moment. So it doesn't open at the back. Okay, so it looks like it's a hybrid tray. That's it's memory card and one SIM or dual SIM. So yep, that's fine. There's no information as to how much of a SD card that this thing will take. So I wouldn't probably go above 64 GB. And again, it's not that easy to find any information about this phone online. And which is a shame, and I'm just going to say it again, if anybody from Mione would ever watch one of my videos, and I haven't taken the plastic off here at the back here because this will be getting sold, but if anybody from Mione would ever watch this video, I just don't understand your logic. Why lie about the specs or have incorrect specs on the boxes? You're producing pretty decent looking phones. Be honest about it. The price I think is decent, and if you were at least honest about it, then people will still buy. But when you're not honest and you're continue to make phones that look pretty decent but the specs are incorrect, who's going to buy it? There's the budget market has got so many phones around that who is going to buy it? So that's just my get off my soapbox, but it just doesn't make any sense. So Mione, get it together. You've got nice phones here, and you're really kind of like shooting yourself in the old foot. Okay, that's my rant over. Now I wanted to just talk a wee bit about the user experience. Now I put on the stock launcher was launcher 3 or something it's called. Now it was just pretty basic launcher, and from the last couple of reviews you'll have seen that I have been using the Microsoft launcher, formerly called Arrow launcher, and I like it. It's pretty soft, pretty smooth, and easy to use. But before I had put the Microsoft launcher on, I'll be honest with you, I thought maybe there was something wrong with the screen or something. It felt like it was really struggling to do anything, or I don't know what it was. Anyway, I downloaded this app. It's called Processor Booster, and it has a free version, and it also has a paid version, which is like $1 or something like that. And I made the I put it into the extreme mode for speed boost, and yep, I think it's made a bit of a difference. I'm not saying that it is a total speed demon, but I think this processor booster, I tried the free settings, which weren't extreme. They were just, I don't know, but they were supposedly a bit better than the what it originally came with. I really do think I noticed a bit of a difference. So that's just me. Processor Booster is the name of that app. Now I put Kodi on, and of course Mobdro and Terrarium TV. These are the go-to apps to, you know, have some media in your wee phone there to watch. And I think, you know, okay, that screen's not as big as what we're used to, but what I like here with this big chin, shall we call it, is it's quite nice to hold like that. So easy enough, no problems. Now the front facing camera, now I'm going to try and do this so that you don't have to have a look at my ugly mug. Reverse. Okay, so oh, my thumb is in the way. The front facing camera is obviously on the chin, so that might have a bit of that might be something for people to think about when they're doing a Skype call, because it'll be looking directly up your nose. I'm just showing off this camera again because I really do think it is worth the money. LG 360 cam, and it was 199 from souk.com, and not only does it just let me put that away, not only does it do decent at normal video, 360 video is pretty decent at that price. I would recommend it. souk.com, 199 LG 360 video cam. So yeah, having the camera here, as you can see, it's right just where my pinky is. Might be, you know, I suppose one could always turn the phone like this, upside down. It doesn't feel particularly natural doing that, but I suppose one could do that. But I think the original Xiaomi have the phone on the chin there. And if anybody ever watched my Dell Venue review of that nice tablet, that it was the same as well. It had a bigger chin and it had the camera there. So I mean, it's not uncommon to see that. And of course, Mi and the likes are just copying Xiaomi. So as I said, I copied some let me just see if I can, some music. I copied some tracks over here just to have a listen to, and I thought they really sounded pretty decent on my headphones. And I'm going to play very quick here. This speaker is pretty loud. Pretty loud. And you know, I don't think anybody would be, I mean, okay, it's a mono speaker, but the sound is louder than some phones, and it's certainly louder than my this one. Sony phones in general are well known to be pretty quiet. And mine has stereo speakers. The quality is not as good, but the loudness on the Mi Mix Mini is pretty decent. So, yep, I don't think anybody could really, you know, complain too much about it. Looking on the back here, you will see the camera, which is obvious, and it looks like it has a dual flash, but I'm not exactly sure again if that is, you know, a genuine dual flash or not. But I'm not particularly worried about it. It's for me, again, at this price point, it could just be there for aesthetic purposes. And you'll see at the top there's a hole, and that is the reset key. Now, you don't really see that on many phones these days, but it can be pretty handy for what do you call it, for cheaper phones, because sometimes they do get stuck. and if you can, and it's very difficult to get them into recovery. Something I'll review soon. I'm struggling to get into recovery, and it's a brand with quite clear instructions. So if it's if the thing is playing up, you can, and you don't want to do a soft reset, you can do the hard reset here. I believe that's what it is. That's what it says it is. So yeah, cool. Now the one thing that Mione do, and I'm not an unboxer, but I want to show you, is that they're pretty good with what they provide in the old box. Is so you have soft TPU soft thingy. You got one of them. Obviously that's a case, not a thingy. One of these things you stick on the back of your finger, and it has another screen protector, which is good because obviously of the shape of this phone. Nice, especially given that most companies now are not providing much. And if you can see here, you get the earphones as well, and I'm sure they're not stereophile, audiophile quality headphones, but again, for the price that you're going to pay for this, it's nice to get all of these all in the old box. So that's one thing that Mione seemed to be doing, which is nice. So let me talk a bit about the screen here, because uh, without the reflection, this on the home screen, it has got this Xiaomi. It looks like the Xiaomi screensaver, so it really gives a good idea of the colors. This is a dark theme. Let me just check, because there is a wallpaper. Let's see if I can change it. On the Microsoft launch, I'm just changing the theme for you and the wallpaper. I think that really, I think that this screen is very, very decent. Okay, now the phone might not be that fast, but I think it looks pretty cool. I'm hoping it don't have any malware, and really the you for that price, for this, it looks a bit different, and if you can deal with the relative slowness of it, I suppose you could put that processor booster app on, or there's plenty of other ones similar that might work. Really, for the price, for me, this has been my favorite Mione, and it it just looks nice. I mean, it feels pretty solid in the old hand. It's not light by any standards, so it feels pretty good. I think it looks really cool. I'm into the kind of slab type phone. That's why I've got the old Sony. So really, and also it's with the size of the screen, if it's 5.2, something like that, it's not. I don't think it's 18.9 aspect ratio, but anyway, I don't know what that means on the old box. Now, I'm querying the cameras, I'm querying the RAM, and also I'm hoping that the storage is genuine. Certainly in the other ones it seemed to be genuine enough, so it would only be, I suppose, if I tried to transfer 60 GB of stuff, I would really find out. But for that price of it, 64 GB, and look at the colours there, I mean, it's really pretty decent. So for that price, if it has half the amount of RAM, then that's fine, even though it's a pretty slow processor. For the look, now I made I made a call last night, and the sound actually I thought was a wee bit slightly better than the Mix 9 that I tried. Again, for me, it's not really a big deal. I'm using my phone not very much for actually making a phone call, so It's not a big deal breaker for me. It was a wee bit tinny, but to be honest with you, I thought it was fine. Now the camera down here might be annoying for some people, but as I said, you can change to having it up here. Your camera will be up here. Now the nice thing about this phone also is got obviously USB-C, so that's pretty good. And the final thing I want to just double check again, and you'll see as I'm using it here, it is without that reflection. Can I do it here? So where it's about phone, and where am I? So it's saying that it's nugget, whatever you want to call it. So as you can see here, as I flick through, now I'm not going to let's see, because I've got a lot of stuff open here. I'm just closing it all, and there we go, calculator, don't know that, processor booster. Now you can close all down here. So there, I mean, if you can see it working without the reflection, it's not bad. Now I have this on half brightness, and it has been pretty decent. So you can maybe let me see, why don't we do it? So that's it with full brightness. Actually, it's not a massive difference, but I think that the screen is pretty decent. So for the price, it was 300 and something, 370, so I can't remember exactly, but anyway, under 400 reals, and that included shipping. For the price, it's a very, very nice looking phone, albeit I'm not going to, I hope it doesn't have any malware, and it's not a speed demon, but it seems to be working more smoothly now. So that's it. The Mione Mix Mini, the one for you. If you're want to ask me any questions, etc., this came from 360 Souk. Now it's not on souk.com, I checked, but I mean it's on other websites. So now, of course, buying these kind of phones, we're kind of, we don't get any real support from them. So one has to be wary. If you're familiar with Chinese brands, then you could be unlucky and you could get stuck. But for that price and to have something that is a wee bit different, it is definitely worth a gamble. So that's it. That is the Mix Mini from Mione. Again, I don't believe the specs, but it's a nice looking phone. It's well built and it's got a nice screen, and it just looks something a wee bit different, and for that price I think it's worth a gamble. So if anybody has questions or wants me to whatever, ask me something, then please leave your comment. I'll do my best in a timely fashion to answer whatever it is you ask me. I'm trying to show you this without the... Whoa. So that's it. Bye.